Fashion icon Anna Sui is famous for her one-of-a-kind take on design. Some of the biggest names in fashion and entertainment have fallen in love with her creations, whether drawing influence from Scandinavian design, 60s scene makers, or her own cultural obsessions. Anna has created work that is equal parts bold and understated. Speaking of bold, Anna started talking about being a designer at the tender age of 4. Because she's emphatic about staying true to herself, her original trend-setting rock and roll looks have made Anna one of the fashion world's premier designers and personalities. In 2009, Anna was honored with the Jeffrey Bean Lifetime Achievement Award from the Council of Fashion Designers of America. And in 2010, Time magazine named the Chinese American one of the top 5 fashion icons of the decade. Joining us today in studio to discuss her inspirations and impact is Anna Sui. Anna, welcome to Full Frame.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Okay, I gotta be honest with you. I feel like, there's been a certain amount of achievement in my life, but you've made me feel really kind of insecure about myself. Because when I was 4, I was thinking about, where's the swing set? Here you are, probably with Barbie. This doesn't look right. What was that like? Why did you know at such a young age, I'm going to be a designer?
It's crazy because I came to New York for a wedding of my aunt and uncle, and I was the flower girl. And when I looked around New York and saw the beautiful dresses at the wedding, on the way home I said to my parents, when I grow up I'm moving to New York and I'm going to be a fashion designer, not knowing what that meant. But my whole childhood and teenage years were really geared towards it.
Bold, eclectic, whimsical. I've just been jotting down some of the words that are used to describe your work. How do you describe it? Do those fit?
I think so. I think so. But there's also words that everyone always uses, like nostalgic, romantic, but rock and roll. There's a lot of ambiguity, and I think that's part of what people are attracted to, is the fact that it's not really one thing or another. It's kind of a combination of both. It's a good girl and a bad girl, and I think people find that attractive. You're one of the top designers in the world. You've got boutiques all over the place, but when you started, was that the goal, or has this just kind of grown and you're kind of like, some days you wake up and you're awestruck at what's happened, or? Yeah, I think globalization took everybody by surprise. The impact that how much it's changed the whole world, how immediate everything is, how one thing affects another. And I was so lucky to be in that place at the right time and able to react to it. I think my parents, having gone from China and educated in France and moving to the United States, kind of took away that fear and stigma of having to go somewhere else where I didn't speak the language. So I can jump on a plane and go work in Italy even though I don't speak Italian, or work in Japan and I don't speak Japanese. So I think that that's part of what has made the whole thing work for me.
I heard you tell this story, which I think, if you don't mind sharing with our audience, how kind of happenstance and getting fired kind of added up to all of this. Tell that story, because it's fantastic.
Well, when I started, there was really a junior market or a designer market, and I was excited about younger clothing, so I started working at big companies in the junior market. But I had these friends that were like punk rockers, and they were doing great jewelry and selling at the boutique show. And I just thought they were the coolest thing on earth. So I asked them, I would love to do the boutique show. And they said, well, why don't you make some clothes and you can share the booth? I think their incentive was for me to share the booth, but I was excited about making a collection. And consequently, from doing that collection, I ended up getting windows at Macy's and a New York Times ad. And the owner of the company that I was working for at the time called me into the office and showed me the ad and said, how come you have your own ad? You're on my payroll. And I said, well, it just happened. And he said, well, it's got to stop. And I said, it can't stop. I have to ship my orders. So I got fired. So that's how I started my business.
So it's the best of times and the worst of times. And there's nothing more inspiring than, oh, my God, I'm on my own. But you waited a while before your first runway show. Why was that?
Well, I didn't have, firstly, the money behind me, or actually the confidence. And it took me a good solid 10 years of building my business, growing my accounts. And it wasn't until actually 1990 when I went to Paris and for the first time to see the fashion shows. And my friend Stephen Meisel picked me up in the car. We stopped and picked up Madonna. She came out with her coat on. And when we sat down at the Gaultier show, she took off her coat. And she was wearing my dress, and she leaned over and she said, Anna, I'm wearing your dress. And I thought, oh my God, like she's wearing my dress. And in her hotel room, she had bags and racks of clothing from every major designer in the world there. And she was wearing my dress. So that was one of the things that really kind of gave me the thought that, oh, maybe I can do this. Maybe I really can do my own show.
And I think I've heard you say that someone would model your clothes and the models would ask, where did you get that? And suddenly you had models, which I guess is the ultimate compliment in many respects too, isn't it?
Well, I knew Naomi and Linda socially, and they were always coming.
And for those who aren't familiar, everybody else, we're not on first name basis.
Naomi Campbell and Linda Evangelista. I knew them personally, and they would come over and they would see the clothes and they would say, oh, can I have that dress? Oh, I love this dress. And they consequently wore them to couture fittings. So all the other models saw them wearing them and wanted them and started calling me from Paris, to the point where Karl Lagerfeld said, Anna, who is this Anna? Because he saw my label in all these dresses that everyone was wearing. And again, that was another thing that kind of gave me the indication that maybe I can do this.
Of all the collections, is there one that you love more than any other? I mean, it's like having babies, though, I imagine, isn't it?
Exactly. But I think the first collection is probably the most sentimental because, again, I didn't know that I could really do it. And all my friends rallied behind me and said, we'll help you. So Linda and Naomi helped me get all the other models. Stephen Meisel and Paul Cavaco really, like, kind of put me through, or taught me the ropes, like told me what I needed to do. And like at the end of the show, when I looked at them, I just started crying. It was like such a labor of love for everyone. So I think that will always be my special show.
I know Beijing is one of your favorite cities. How does it square with fashion compared to like New York or London or Paris? And do you see distinct differences as you go to all these cities?
Oh yeah, definitely. But less and less because of globalization, because of the internet. Sometimes you can't tell where you are unless you see the street sign, because people are dressed very much alike now. I think that the whole kind of casual dress has taken over. When you think about airports 15, 20 years ago, people wore suits, and now everyone has on track suits. So I think Beijing's the same. They've kind of caught up with the times. I mean, like very, very quickly. I've seen the change in the last 15 years that I've been traveling there, and every time it's more exciting, and to the point where it's incredible. Like when you get out in the airport and you see that airport. I mean, it's massive and so state of the art. And same with all the hotels. I mean, it's astounding what's happened.
What's next for you?
There's so many things in the works, and I think that one of the most exciting things, since I opened my boutique, everyone's always wanted to buy the furniture. They've always said, oh, can I buy this vanity table? Can I buy this cabinet? So we're starting to work on Anna Sui Home. I introduced it in Japan this year. We started with towels and sheets and kitchen accessories, aprons, and it's going to build. So I think that it'll be a total lifestyle package now.
One final question before we go. Do you get time to sleep?
Well, right before the collection this month, probably not. I have insomnia now, so it's always like worrying about details, worrying when something's going to get finished, because there's so many deadlines, the shoes, the stockings, the jewelry, if that sweater's going to look right, if that dress is coming out right, oh, should I change the hem length? It's a constant flow, but again, that's part of the process.
And then there's the finish line, and then again, then you have to start thinking ahead.
All over again.
Anna, thanks so much. It's been so much fun.
Thank you.
Really
Thanks so
appreciate
much.
it. We'll be right back with another change-making icon.